Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Scale Stories by Helium 10. My name is Bradley Sutton. I'm from Helium 10. Today, I'm joined by
Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of eComsing.
And we are here to help
David Mead from InMotion, double my sales.
All right. And today we're going to talk about an aspect that I think a lot of Amazon sellers shudder at, and that's advertising, PPC, ads, whatever you want to call it. But before we get into it, if you're just randomly landing on this episode and you haven't met David yet, make sure to go search on YouTube or on Helium 10 or Helium 10 Scale Stories. Look for David's first episode where we meet him, we meet the mentors like Vincenzo, and we learn a little bit about his InMotion brand and do an overview of a lot of the things that we're talking about in these side episodes or breakout episodes that David needs to implement in his account in order to double or potentially even more his online sales. And so as mentioned today, we are talking about advertising. And that was one of the reasons why we brought Vincenzo on as one of the mentors, is because he's one of the top experts out there as far as advertising goes. So Vincenzo, when you first got into David's account, whether it was in Helium 10 or Seller Central, wherever you were looking at it, what were some of the things that jumped out when you were doing an audit? Like, it doesn't have to be bad things, let us know some of the bad things or the good things and anything in between.
I would say, to be honest with you, the first time I look at the account, the first thing I saw is like, wow, there is so much opportunity here in this for improvement, right? Most of the time when I jump into accounts, I have a look at the campaigns and I have a look at what keywords they're going for, the structure of the campaigns, and sometimes I might have the feeling like there's not too much to improve here. But when I was actually having a look at David's account, there was a bunch of actually things that we can make better from the perspective.
Lots of opportunity.
Yes. Which again, you can see it from both sides of the coin. You could see as bad news because yes, of course, are things that haven't been done. But it's also great news because that means it can be a new beginning for the account. I strongly believe if things are restructured correctly, we can definitely move in the right direction this time. And hopefully today we can go over some of those things and make it very clear in terms of what are some of the missing points and how we can make it happen. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. Now, I remember a while back, he didn't even seem to have the brand registry, but I guess it finally went through. And that's, of course, why he was missing probably a lot of the advertising types that you would suggest, like sponsored display ads he couldn't run, sponsored brand video ads, sponsored brand headline ads. Like, you probably noticed there's none of those in his account, but it seems like he should be able to now. So, I mean, time will, once we actually implement this stuff, we'll be able to find out. But for all of you guys out there, you've got to be doing these other ad types. It's not just about sponsored products. You need to make videos that you could run video ads on. You need to have those headline ads, because advertising is not just 100% about a click and a conversion. There's a branding aspect of it. And the more you can get your brand out there and top of mind, this is just a general advertising principle. It doesn't have even anything to do with Amazon. It's like, why do people pay so much money for Super Bowl ads? They don't think they're going to pause the Super Bowl and go out and buy Doritos. But because they're putting stuff top of mind in so many places, be it a Super Bowl ad or other places, they know it's going to eventually help lead to sales. And that's what we try to do with Amazon advertising. Now, one of the interesting things is that for some of these other advertising types, like sponsored display, sponsored brand, sponsored video, these all require digital or creative assets. It's not just like a keyword targeting. Obviously a video ad has to have a video. The headline ad, there's some custom creatives that you can do. And so I know offline, Vincenzo, you've been working with Kamal, who's also been helping David as well, to get some assets. Can you tell us, we don't have those ready yet, we'll maybe do another episode about that later or show the after. But how did you approach that? Because this is how somebody else would need to approach an agency or somebody who can provide assets. What kind of things were you asking for from Kamal?
Yeah, so I think the first conversation I was having with Kamal is, okay, how do we make sure we drive that click as much as possible into David listings? At the end of the day, that's what video campaigns is all about. because you can make as many videos you want, but if you don't have the right piece of content, they can become very expensive very fast. So essentially the conversation was all about what is the things that the competition is not answering in terms of, what is the things that makes your product unique from a pain point of view, the ingredients, how your product compares against other, how do people feel when they use the product, like playing also a lot with emotions. And we already have an initial kind of very strong agenda of around 5 videos we're gonna go in terms of sponsored brand campaigns, because what we're gonna do with these videos is we're gonna focus on the top 5 keywords, and we're gonna make sure that each of these videos is tailored to that keyword from the perspective of what people want to see when they type this keyword into the search bar, right? And then it's all about making sure those 3 seconds is all about, wow, I need to look more into what this product is about. And then of course we combining that with all the work that is also being done from a listing optimization point of view, driving that sale.
All right, let's now maybe if you could share your screen, maybe in Helium 10 ads, and let's start going over some of the nitty gritty. We talked a lot about the big picture, things, but let's actually get into it and see what you saw about some instant improvements or things that he can start doing in his account.
Sure. Awesome. So here we are inside David's Helium 10 account. This is the PPC dashboard. And essentially the thing we're focusing on is understanding, what is the impact that each of these campaigns is driving to the account, and what are the things that we should be fixing as soon as possible to ensure we can improve profitability, and also how the budget is being utilized. So the first thing I usually do when I jump on account is order all my campaigns by spend, because I need to know where most of my money is going. That's going to give me a clear signal in terms of, okay, this money being spent correctly, and if it's not spent correctly, what do I have to do to correct it? And as you guys can see here on the screen, and I'm going to actually increase this so you guys can see the meaning behind each of these campaigns, and then I'm going to open it so you can see all the details. Where David is spending most of the money is on campaigns that have to essentially with research, because these initial campaigns brought essential targeting. So it's all about finding new keywords and new phrases, and Auto, as we all know, is also about Amazon to advertising. And we all know, especially when it comes to giving money for advertising from a broad perspective or auto perspective, if you don't optimize this soon enough, they can become very expensive very fast, and that usually these campaigns are not meant for what really we need to work on, which is organic. So when I start having a look at here, and you guys can also see here from the metrics perspective, the campaign that's spending the most in this specific scenario, which is the research campaign, which is a broad campaign, is having a very high ACOS. And one of the initial learnings I found as soon as I opened the campaign, which by the way I can show you here, we're inside the research campaign, we can see that one of the first mistakes, which is this is something I would advise nobody to ever do, is putting too many keywords on the same campaign. In fact, when I order by spend, and this is something I invite everybody watching this episode to do at home, if you order by spend, you're gonna find that usually most of your spend is gonna be concentrated on your top 5 to 10 keywords, because usually what happens is Amazon will prioritize usually the keywords that have historically the best conversion or the highest search volume. So that's why there has to be also a clear segmentation in terms of making sure high search volume keywords are on its own compared to keywords that have a low search volume. So I'm going to make a pause in case there is any questions, I don't know, from David or Bradley regarding this. Yeah.
I notice you have a 1 week look back period. I usually look back longer a little bit. What are the kind of like, there's a reason for everything. Like somebody might want to go and look at a 2-day period, like on Prime Day specifically. What are the different reasons of why you would look at a 1 week versus a 60 days versus a 1 month?
Yeah, I mean, usually when we have a look at an account, to be honest with you, I like to divide in 3 kind of timelines. The first thing is I want to have a look at what happened last week, because it gives me a very fast kind of overview of what is going on. Then I want to have a look at a month, and then I want to have a look at 3 months. The reason why I want to have a look at these 3 windows is allows me to understand if there is some consistency in the performance in terms of underperformance, or maybe there's some fluctuation that you were very profitable and then the profitability is not happening anymore. And that is going to allow me to essentially create kind of pinpoints throughout the whole timeline to understand where is potentially drop in sales or in profitability or in conversion. And usually if I have a look at the history of the PPC campaign, which you can have a look at the changes and everything, that usually could be correlated to something. You launch a campaign that it started to burn most of your money, or the campaign that's not converting enough. Or sometimes you want to even go deeper, which I like to do. I have a look at, have I changed something on my listing, in my title, in my images, my price point? Did I go out of stock? These are things that actually can also influence your PPC. But yeah, usually as a rule of thumb, the actual better view of having a look at really understanding what's going on is usually the last month. That's going to give you the best kind of overview of what recently is being done. And the weekly one is more to understand if there's some recent fluctuations that are happening that we need to be aware of for the future implementation.
And then David too, this other thing where he was talking about, hey, this is like, keyword harvesting campaign or broad and auto. There's different targeting types in Amazon advertising. Like if there's a good keyword, hey, people are searching even branded keywords, in motion, hemp, roll on, like that specific term, you want to target that exact term. But then some of those ones that had a little bit of spend there were the research campaign, which is a broad campaign, and an auto campaign. And basically when you do that, it's like you're saying, all right, I'm targeting for the broad campaign in motion, but then Amazon is going to show you for in motion hemp, in motion roll on, in motion cream, in motion this, that, and the other thing. All right. So you're discovering new keywords maybe you didn't know were relevant that you'd want to go ahead and put into your manual campaign. And the auto campaign, you're just saying, hey, Amazon, take the wheel, show me for anything out there, and let's find some keywords. And you'll notice there's keywords you're converting for that technically don't even have anything to do with your product. Like one of the CBD cream, your product is obviously not a CBD cream. It doesn't have CBD. You can't even use the keyword CBD.
Can't sell it.
Yeah, can't use that keyword in your listing. But that doesn't stop customers from searching it. And then, so if you weren't doing an auto or broad campaign, you never would have shown up for the keyword CBD cream because you're not even indexed originally.
I can't sell it.
Yeah. So that's why these are important. Now, something I noticed right off the bat, as soon as you were showing the ad manager there, Vincenzo, I think that would be something he needs to do is in Helium 10 ads, you can see the average budget utilization. And I saw a few of them are at 100%. So if he's got some profitable ones over time, like looking at that 60-day thing, and it's at 100%, wouldn't you say that he's probably leaving money on the table? Because right now it's only 10 a.m. in Pacific time, and I think I saw one that was already out of budget. So that means he's not even advertising more than half the day, right? Is that what that means?
Yeah, 100%. Like actually, I was gonna show you. I was ordering right now by ACOS, so everybody could also see on the screen. Like when we have a look at the budget utilization, that's essentially understanding how often the budget is being utilized, right? And you have campaigns where essentially, let's have a look at, for example, these 2 campaigns, right? Where you have a relatively low ACOS, right? Or even this one, that also a good kind of ACOS. You can see how the utilization is usually close to 100%. Which means some of the campaigns don't drive most of the profitability most of the time are already off by now, right? And then in other instances, you have other campaigns like your medium ACOS campaigns that they are not utilizing the budget as often. Now, this is actually also a red flag because another day, when this is also not close to 100%, percentages are very low, that means your bids are not aggressive enough. That means whenever your bid is competitive enough, which usually ends up being very late at night, or when people are out of budget, you are showing and you've been profitable. But that should also be a signal for you that you should double down on these campaigns, because when you show, you clearly having a better ACOS campaigns such as this one where that's not the case. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there's already something that we can do today where we can easily increase the budget and maybe look at some of the ones that aren't using the budget. Hey, do we need to increase some bids on there? So that's good. What else? What else did you want to bring out?
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to bring to the conversation as well is when we start having a look as well. For example, one of the campaigns that perform the best starts to point to campaigns that are exact match campaigns, right? And that's the reason why, as soon as I jump on the account and I saw that most of the campaigns were going from a broad match perspective or other perspective, as a red flag, because that means we are not actually getting the search terms that you're converting efficiently and moving them into exact match, right? So there's also a lack of proactiveness there in terms of, okay, broad is clearly identifying some specific search terms, which we can see here. There's some specific search terms that are the one driving the profitable sales. The same happens from an auto perspective. We can go to the search term report and we can see out of all our auto, which is the one actually driving most of the sales. But the goal of that is then to proactively move this into exact match campaigns, because that is going to allow us to do two things. First of all, allocate more budget. But the second thing, which I'm going to go a bit deeper, is also placements. Like, for example, some of the things that's not being heavily also tackled across the whole account is placement optimization. You're having very efficient conversion, for example, some keywords top of the search, which is not the case for all the top of the search. So you need to understand which keywords you can show top of the search, which keywords you have to show for pro details page or rest of the search, and dynamically have the allocation of budget to make sure that you essentially are showing for each specific keyword where you're more likely to convert into. So, yeah.
Okay. Excellent.
And now
I have a question here.
Sure.
A lot of these I can tell by the sales. If you scroll down a little bit, he only sold one, because his product costs $31, $32, and so it's one conversion. Now I don't know if you're looking at 1 week or
we're looking we're looking on this case.
What's your threshold as far as when you harvest a keyword? Like, do you want, as soon as there's one sale, go ahead and put it to the manual campaign? Do you want to wait for 2 sales for a search term before you put it to the manual campaign? Where do you cut it off?
I think a lot of that has also to do with the economics that you allow yourself for customer acquisition, because some brands might afford essentially to allocate more budget to acquire a client compared to us. And what I mean by that is, if you allow yourself to spend, let's put an example of David. Let's say David allow himself to allocate close to $100 for customer acquisition because he really believes not in the first purchase but in the lifetime value. Then in that case, given that we are really focusing on that longer approach, usually we don't wait that long, because then we can afford the mistake of having the guessing, and even one sell, even if then that allows more clicks that get us to $100, we can afford it because that made us the one sell that might avoid the customer acquisition cost. But for most people, that the profitability is not that, might not be that high, and you need to really be proactive. I would say a good number to take in mind is 3 to 5 sales. 3 to 5 sales is a good number, and then based on how that behaves in terms of if proactively 3 to 5 sales is making me profitable, I will keep it or increase it or decrease it.
Another question I had is, this is probably an auto campaign. I'm not sure, but I see some of his own branded keywords in there. When you have exact targeting campaigns, do you think he should have his branded keywords separate than just like maybe the generic ones like hemp pain cream and stuff like that is in one, but then in motion hemp? Should it be segregated like that, or it doesn't matter if it's together?
Yeah, that's actually another thing I saw across the account. On the campaigns that kind of broad phrase and auto, you're having some of the generic keywords coming up from a search term perspective with your branded term, which actually that's very good. That means some people is looking now already for your brand. Now, something I usually recommend to do, which is not happening on this account, and I will be doing as part of the plan of action, I will take my top 5 to 10 keywords and create a branded specific campaign. So that means I will take my top 10 keywords, I will put my brand in front of it, and I will create an exact match campaign. to essentially make sure I dominate the keywords. I know where, from a brand perspective, I already have some awareness, and then I will do essentially with my branded term also a bit of phrase, because sometimes you can find more long tails out of it. But branded campaigns is a must. I will say if you start identifying that you're having branded search terms from your auto, from your broad and frame generic keyword, that means it's a signal that the awareness is already kicking off in terms of people recognizing your brand. And you should maximize as much as possible the opportunity, but then consolidating the real estate control by moving into exact match, as I just described. Okay. Now, another thing that is also missing here in terms of the strategy. So, talking about sponsored products here, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard Amazon Marketing Cloud. Is something that is being utilized a lot lately, and that's something I feel that you can utilize significantly here, because by having a look in depth about your niche, there's clear connotation to the type of person that might buy your product, because at the end of the day there's different lifestyles associated with the type of person that could buy the product. So something that's also not being leveraged here within your campaigns is that within each campaigns we're not leveraging essentially a Amazon Marketing Cloud. I can also show this here. I have one of the campaigns here actually, so we can see it from an audience perspective here. So we can see, for example, here this is one of the biggest spender campaign. That's the Pro campaign. You can see here that there is no Amazon Marketing Cloud we leverage here. And Amazon Marketing Cloud, for everybody watching, in summary, essentially what allows you to do is allows you to create kind of audiences out of behaviors. Amazon usually, as a rule, can give you the basics, which is if people have added the product to cart, they have bought from you, or they have seen the product. But really where we can maximize this is creating persona, like down to the type of sport, the gender, the age, where they're based in the United States. And we can already see that in your history. And then what we can essentially do is that every single time a person types from your keyword, we know historically they represent, from a lookalike perspective, the type of person that has spent the most amount of money or has converted the highest with you. So now we can make sure that every single dollar has the highest probability to give you the best return on investment, right?
Okay, so definitely use the new AMC audiences. Before, this was something that he couldn't have used even if he wanted to. It wasn't even available to regular Amazon.
Now it's available to everybody. That's correct.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, another thing I would like to mention in terms of from a strategy point of view is, of course, we're having here some product targeting campaigns, right? But something I did notice here, and I'm gonna open in the screen so everybody can see, is when we do product targeting campaigns, usually this type of campaigns, the functionality of these campaigns is to target essentially other products, your competitors, right? And when I start having a look at some of the history of this campaign, I can already identify one of the ASINs that's been targeted, that's been driving essentially a good performance in terms of sales. Now, funny enough, we can see that is essentially your own
his own product.
Yeah, right. So now
that's just something that people out there should do. Like it's not just for competitors. You target your own product, and that means like somebody clicks on this, but then maybe they don't buy it, but the ad is going to start following them around Amazon, right?
Yeah, and this straight away shows me that that's a huge opportunity for us to explore. In fact, just as I'm sharing my screen, we can see how as of now we're actually not winning the offer on key placement. This is usually achieved with sponsor display. You can see under the buy box. Like imagine you're gonna make a purchase. Straight away, I'm targeted with this ad in here or this ad in here, which is way cheaper, right? That will create an emotion on the consumer to say, oh, actually, let me click on it and have a look at this product. And as soon as I do it here, essentially that will drive me to their listing, and now you will potentially lose the sale, which is actually something I also found on your brand analytics. I saw there's a lot of impression, a lot of clicks on some of the terms, but then they're not converting into actual cards of purchase. And usually that's because we don't have a strong enough PPC defense, right? So that's another thing we need to tackle straight away. We need to make sure that all the placements, as much as possible, even here, are covered by our products.
For sponsor display, does every sponsor display ad also need a custom image? And is that what are you working on with Kamal for him?
Yeah, so essentially we're also coming up with the custom banners and lifestyle for sponsor brand. We're going to repurpose some of that for sponsor display. But for those out there that maybe wonder if you need one, like some, if you don't want, you can just use your essentially your main image and your logo from your brand.
You know what,
But
let's create with I'm going to share my screen. Let's actually create his first live here on the show. Let's create his first sponsor display. I will just use the simple one without the image, and let's just see if it's going to work here. Let me share my screen. And so how you can do this within Helium 10 ads is you go to the ad manager and just hit add campaign. And we'll do a single campaign, sponsor display. And let's do it for the roll on. Let me just take a look at what the naming convention is here. And then for some of his first targets, would you look at ASINs from his other campaigns that are converting? And then that's usually a good place to start for finding ASIN targets?
yes, I mean, usually when it comes to ASIN targeting, I'm going to give you a few places where you can start. The first one, it will be your own catalog, as we already overseen. The second one will be the top 10 competitors that are dominating the top 10 keywords, right? The way you can achieve that is essentially even within Helium 10, you can have a look at the keyword level and also have a look at with integration with brand analytics, which are the ASINs that are controlling most of the impression and click share, and make sure then those are within your pro targeting campaigns. Another one I love to do as well is go for accessories, and this is something you can also do with Helium 10. You can essentially buy products that are bought together, and this is usually a good kind of loophole to exploit, because be mindful that most of the time your product, even without you knowing, is bought with another accessory. It could be another cream, it could be a specific thing that goes with the implementation of your product, and this will allow you sometimes to avoid the high CPC that might imply to go straight for your top competitor. You could go for secondary kind of niches that complement your main niche, right? And yes, start with these three kind of buckets, and then of course auto campaigns will also start throwing ASINs at you that could perform, and then also essentially start isolating those into its own and then take advantage of it.
Okay, so we're gonna pause this really quick, and I'm just gonna off camera put a whole bunch of the ASINs here. But what about should he also be doing like the remarketing audiences and things like this, or for this just the at least in the beginning just the actual ASINs?
Yeah, I would say at the beginning contextual, because at the end of the day, audiences and all that, those are also very powerful, but we also to some extent going to achieve that already with Amazon Marketing Cloud, and we're going to be more efficient with our budget. Usually with sponsor display, contextual is the one that's going to drive the fastest return on investment, and then once we have more budget at our disposal, we can test the other ones that can allow us to enter into more niches.
All right, I'm here on the creative part. Obviously later we can put in like a better image here, but in his Amazon assets, since he's never done sponsored display, it's very limited. He's got this InMotion pain cream, and I don't know what the heck where this comes from. So I believe when it says images, it's like kind of like maybe talking about these two images here. What is best to do for his image?
So usually for a situation like David's product, which is actually what we're going to try to really focus on the videos, is all about transmitting relief, right? Because that's really the main reason why people is going for a product like this. So now how usually this can be reflected, especially on an image, it has to do with facial expressions. It could be with a facial expression of somebody doing like this, or expressing relief. That's one way of doing it. The second way of doing it could also be, for example, from the perspective of a lifestyle image. Let's say we're targeting a competitor that is all about, I think we discussed this during the recording as well, it's all about people that do golf or do any specific sport. Then you want to show that person dress or doing that specific sport. So I would say in the case like we're going more generic now for a specific kind of competitor, I would put an image that has to do with kind of pain relief. So putting emphasis on the expression of the relief this is bringing to them.
Okay, so I'll maybe pull something from his creative assets, and then you, with Kamal later, can update this. Headline: what usually should sellers do or this headline, and where does that let me just try and look where that even comes out. I don't even see a headline here. So maybe it doesn't not on all.
Yeah,
display
not
it
all the
show.
placement you show. Usually the tagline, and this is actually something we recommend also doing, is with Helium 10, what we do is we download all the negative reviews.
Mhm.
All the reviews, actually, not only negative, all the reviews of our main competitors, and then we try to reverse engineer what are the pain points, right? What is the reason why you choose a product over the other? It could be something to do with the formulation, it could be something with how easy it is to apply. And then if, let's say, the main reason why people will buy this product has to do with how refreshing they feel after they put it over the skin, then the tagline is all about that one of the top 3 features. It could be feel refreshing after whatever. It could be a mention of one of the features. You need to be careful with claims though. When it comes to claims, especially it has to do with medical, you cannot make any specific claims. But
Cures cancer with one or
yeah, but you want to keep that tagline, which is actually something I'm working with Kamal as well on the videos that have to do with, okay, yeah, that's actually I experienced with a product that I didn't like, or something like that, and then that usually should be the tagline.
All right. I'm gonna continue working on this while you're going through some of the rest of the stuff. But maybe you could look at some of his bid management rules, and I'll explain. If you can go ahead and I'll throw your screen back up here. If you hit the rules there, I'll kind of explain to you what we set up, just so that you can get some of his bid under control, and then hit the hemp master rules. And then so I'm just going to explain what we have set up. And so we added them all, all his campaign to the right. And then if you scroll down, we have different groups of rules. So like basically we put here, hey, if it's over 250% ACOS, it's very unlikely we're going to be able to eventually get that to a decent one. So I just say, hey, you know what? Pause the target. And then everything else, the way we kind of set it up was, all right, hey, if it's between 150 and 250, obviously that's very high, but let's just start bringing it down slowly. So I just say, hey, let's bring that down to 100, and then it's gonna the other rules will pick it up. And if you start to scroll down, you'll see a lot of these are just in different chunks of ACOS, where it's like, hey, if it's between 100 and 150, bring it down to 70. If it's between 70 and 100 or something, bring it down to 60. Because for him, he's not profitable at 50% ACOS or 40% ACOS, but that's what we're targeting because he's got a product that can get into subscribe and save. And so the goal is to pay extra money to hook somebody, and then eventually, when they get on subscribe and save, he never has to pay any advertising at all. So one thing to look at is just what you think about some of these rules, and then like at the very bottom, if it's like 10 and 15%, it's like, hey, no, bring it up, because he might be leaving money on the table. Anything that jumps out to you here that we should change or anything?
Yeah, so here, first of all, yeah, I love this kind of ruling, and I think this is something that everybody should be doing when connecting Helium 10 ads to their account, because one of the things you have to be mindful is a lot of times, a lot of these kind of keywords and things that we have to adjust, it's very difficult, I can tell you, very difficult to do manually. So you need a solution like this one to really flag most of it. And then the beauty, and then I'm sure then Bradley can touch a little bit more on that, is that then you have a log system that you can manually select, what makes sense for you, what doesn't make sense for you, which I really think is the best of what works. You have the human side, creating all these rules, which we're going to go over today, but also having that kind of also 24/7 software that's gonna flag everything for you. Now, going into the rules, okay? The first thing I can see is that most of the essential kind of rules, right, have to do with ACOS, right?
Yes.
And I have a bit of a kind of feedback when it comes to that. Now, it's good because it allows you to control essentially spend and allows you to adjust bits here and there. But let's be honest, especially in a situation like David, that we need to push for organic ranking, most of the decision also has to be done essentially focusing on the CTR, right, which is a conversion rate, right, that these keywords are having. Because especially when we have a look at brand analytics, right, and I'm gonna show you here, so people, I think actually people can see the drop down menu. Yeah, so you guys can see essentially the drop down menu here of the options. If all the focus has to do with the ACOS, that means most of the adjustment we're doing on the account is being driven from a profitability point of view. But let's be honest, when we're looking for ranking, most of the time the decision are not going to be profitable. It has to do with pushing certain keywords so we can position ourselves organically. So some of the rules I will create as well is, if you ask me, it will be down to essentially a CTR. I really would like to understand how some of my keywords are converting, and then I will do this by creating baselines based on what Helium and brand analytics together tell me in terms of what is the baseline, right? Comparing against some of my main competitors across some of my keywords, because then that would create a baseline. Okay, which kind of CTR I need to be in between, right? To make sure that then on Amazon Eyes, I'm converting high enough so I keep a consolidated organic ranking. Yeah.
All right. Good. So what kind of things do you optimize for? What do you think would be best? Which of these are you going for impressions? Are you going for ROAS, spend?
Yeah, so I would say at the beginning situation, like David, I will definitely have some ACOS here in place, but the ACOS one will be more from essentially to create a contingency plan for things to get out of control, but which will be 100, 200 plus kind of ACOS. But at the lower tier, I'd like to focus more on things such as you mentioned, impression, how much impression share I'm getting on certain keywords, my conversion rate, understanding how that's essentially aligned with what I've seen brand analytics and what some of my main keywords are doing. And then the other thing I would like to also be very mindful here, specifically when it comes to the keywords, is also the click side of things. Because some of the things, and you could also do this with impression. At the end of the day, that's the beauty of these rules. You can really map this as you want, but clicks is an easy way to do it, because especially on David account, a normal mistake as well, you have too many keywords that actually could be very relevant for you, but there's not necessarily enough rules that will, for example, cover you for keywords that are having almost no clicks. That means we're not being aggressive enough with certain bids, or we're not. Sometimes you're not even indexing, you're not even ranking, and if you don't have a rule that has to do with the clicks, then those keywords are gonna be left forgotten forever. So those are some of the things high level I will do. Yeah.
What else? Any other homework for us to work off camera on advertising for David's account?
Yeah, so another thing which we already mentioned, sponsor brand, sponsor display is a big thing. I mean, just to show you very quickly here, if we have a look at the distribution of spend, only sponsor products, and we definitely need to divert some of that essentially towards sponsor brand, sponsor display. Another thing as well, which actually going back to the rules, I saw is that I see that most of the essentially kind of rules have to do with essentially adjusting bids, right? But I don't necessarily see rules that have to do with negation, right? Now, this is important, especially because it's in the case of David, he has a lot of most of the spend was happening on campaigns such as Program Auto. So something to be mindful. Sometimes posting a term is not only a solution, especially on keywords like that, because if you have a keyword, and I'm gonna make you so I can make a graphical for everybody watching the episode. If you post one keyword, that doesn't mean the search term cannot be ramified from another keyword, right? For example, let's say that rule will post CBD roller, then the same search term that's wasting you a lot of money could come from CBD roller, as an example, right? So sometimes posting is not only solution, also negation has to happen of that specific from an exact perspective, and that's something that also on the ruling is missing. So also some negation.
Go to the top. There actually are some negative rules, and you like you to look at it to see all the way at the top. Let's or exit out of this page actually, and go to negative targeting.
Okay.
And I mean, this is just a whole bunch of.
I can see. I can
roll on auto negative. Go to that one. Yeah, it's one of those. And let's see what he has here. We have some of his auto campaigns, and then scroll down. So here we have, hey, clicks 20, sales 0. Now this is always a subjective thing where Many
Yeah.
people have different thresholds. Some people do it on spend
Exactly.
without sales. Some people do it on clicks. What would you suggest for David? Should it be on spend? Should it be on spend and clicks? And then if so, what should those numbers be?
Yeah, usually I would say, at least from my experience, spend is better, because going back to the economics, you at the end of the day need to set up a budget for exploration. Like, you need to say, okay, I need to spend X amount of money to acquire a customer or discover a keyword. So if that budget is $20, $30, then that should be your roof for spending for a keyword, right? If that's the case, I would go from a spend perspective. If then that's not the case and your decision is more driven in things such as, conversion, ACOS, and all of that, then again, it's just a different way of formulating. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the budget you want to allocate to this.
So basically, David, what this is Amazon will show you for a whole bunch of keywords. Like, especially if you're telling Amazon, hey, show me for this keyword, and you could get hundreds of dollars of clicks and no sales, showing that it's probably not a good keyword for you, but Amazon will gladly take your money. Like, oh no, we'll keep you told us to do it. Hey, well, we'll do it. I'm sorry, and we're funding Jeff Bezos' next yacht. So by setting these negative rules, it's like, all right, hey, there's got to be a cutoff, because eventually, like, hey, if you get 30 clicks or 50 clicks on a keyword with 0 sales, the odds that the 51st or 52nd or 53rd click is going to result in a sale is very low.
There's a time to give up, right?
Exactly. So that's what Vincenzo's talking about here, is where do we draw that line?
Right.
Yeah. And I would say another thing, which I think has also to do with negation, but in the opposite, in terms of migration, like something I can see here also in rules, which is good, but we need to make sure that then this is also proactively monitored, is the harvesting into moving some of this keyword to exact match. So for example, we have an exact match campaign, which is the third one most spending campaign, that's having an ACOS of around 22%, which is very good. So I would like to see essentially, because some of these rules are not deployed across all the campaigns, or we need to also create a lot of new campaigns, so we need to be mindful of that. But something that we need to make sure is on the mix is this rule, because at the end of the day, we create all these new phrase, broad and auto, and we're not doing this harvesting. It's also a waste of opportunity, because some of them are going to become your hero keywords probably. Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing, I think this was the first thing you mentioned, was you notice a lot of his campaigns had too many targets.
Yes.
What would be a good number? Because we'll do that off camera, where some of those ones where it's too many, we'll just start breaking it out a little bit. What should he cap the campaigns at? How many targets per?
So usually I would advise that, from experience, no more than 10 keywords. Ideally, I do even 5. Because as I said, I audit hundreds of accounts, and usually the same phenomenon happens. If you have more than 10 keywords, usually the top 5 get all the spend, and then it's a significant drop on spend. So it just seems like when the actual system cannot really handle real budget allocation based on the search volume kind of discrepancy you have between search terms. So that's why 5 to 10, and then I will test. If I see that even with 5, they still want to take in most of the spend, I will then isolate that keyword to make sure it doesn't suppress the other one.
Okay. All right, cool. Interesting. So yeah, David, a lot of this stuff I know is like another foreign language here, because it was like that for me when I first started getting into Amazon. I'm like, man, I don't want to touch all this ROAS and ACOS and like what the heck is all the manual targeting, is like sponsored displays, all this terminology. But that's why there's tools like Helium 10 ads, because it kind of like makes it a lot simpler. Back in the day, you'd be downloading spreadsheets left and right.
I don't get all the acronyms that you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
But the overall philosophy, I think I've got that, and that makes
Excellent.
sense. And you guys know how to implement that. But,
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything else for David in this episode here, Vincenzo?
And I would say the last one, which is also something that I will be also interested to explore. Funny enough, I saw that on some of his campaigns, and I'm gonna show this from the dashboard perspective. I saw some of his campaigns. He started to get Amazon Business sales, right? And it's actually interesting, because this
What does that
actually
mean? What does that mean?
So that means essentially somebody with a business account is buying from you. Usually, business account means you need to have like an entity in the United States. But the reason why this could be a hidden opportunity for you is like, especially with a product like yours, it could be like small shops across the United States or a football team needs to buy in bulk, right? Or they need to expense this as an activity or whatever, right? And they will use Amazon Business because from an invoicing perspective, that's how they can then claim that in terms of within their accounting and everything. So this is something that we can actually also be more aggressive with the bid adjustment, because I saw on some of your campaigns we are getting good ROAS from an Amazon Business, and be mindful that this means that your bids are going to be different when somebody's logged from an Amazon Business account. And most people, I can say, because I say this every single day, they don't even have a clue that this exists. So this is something we could exploit, and combining that with an aggressive business price, we could spike conversion.
So I always think of that as if I want to buy components to produce something and somebody in Amazon sells them, I can get some benefit of buying. This is people actually buying the finished goods for some reason.
Yeah, like it could be a gym or something, or a personal trainer who uses his LLC to buy on Amazon in bulk, because actually if they have Amazon Business selected, I don't use Amazon Business, but then so maybe even we should have we should look at outside of advertising his business price, right?
Yes, yeah, for sure. That's something we try to always do with our brands. We make sure that we always have an aggressive pricing business, because that creates two things. The first thing is that usually people can see the difference in pricing if they buy with a business account. And the second thing is incentivize for people to go in bulk, right? Because it pushes like the fact that they get a bigger discount, especially if you combine the business pricing with also stacking pricing. Stacking will be buy 2 and get 1% off, 3 and buy 5% off. And then that can push for bulk orders, which could be very good for you as well.
Okay, so he does, have some bulk SKUs here. We don't advertise too much, but even just his regular SKU, we can see here this section that says business price and then set. So if his regular price is $31.47, only ASINs with 4-star ratings are eligible. Well, this is 4-star, is it not? Let's take a look. 4.3. Or why is it saying that it's? Oh, blue badge.
Blue badge. Sorry, yeah. So that means that's another thing. Business requires you to have a discount that's actually realistic and real. So they will give you what is the minimum. In this case, $29.89. And as soon as you put that,
there we go.
It will show the badge. And as I said, the good thing of that, I do that all the time. When I'm shopping on Amazon, I see a product that has the business badge. The first thing I do is then switch to my business account, because I know I can buy this product cheaper if I buy it through the company, as an example, right? So that's something that could drive.
Even if it's just something you need for your personal, if you see that because you have a business account.
Yeah, if you have a business and an entity that then, you can buy through the entity, because you can justify why you're buying this through the company. You can. Yeah.
And then he could have been losing sales potentially, because let's say his competitors had the business pricing, and then when somebody switches to the Amazon Business filter or whatever, how it looks on their search results, they saw that the other ones had the discount, but he didn't. He probably was losing those sales to the other roll-ons and products.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So there we just made in the last 2 minutes another impact that's probably going to increase.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the main part of doubling sales.
No, but it's
all these
there.
little things we're doing is
everything is impactful.
Yeah, but it's there. Why
exactly
not take advantage of it, right?
There we go. So a little bit of outside advertising. All right, so Vincenzo, we've got a lot of work to do off camera here to kind of optimize some of these campaigns, and we'll do it all together once we get Kamal's video and image asset in, and yeah, like even just on some of the stuff we did today, where his budget is running out earlier in the day, that's going to increase his sales as well. So very excited to see the increases we're going to make on advertising, because I think some people out there, they think, the only way to make more money on Amazon, and we are doing these things, is by like launching new products and things like that. But no, even on the existing stuff you have, there's all these tweaks that we can make that are going to add up and give a big impact. Now, I don't know if you knew this, Vincenzo, but David's actually been worried lately. The stuff we've done so far has his sales so far up. He might run out of stock again. So he's
That's a
working
good
on
issue to have.
Yeah, I mean, I trended for 5 years and knew exactly when to order and what to do, and then you guys screwed it up. So
Now you need to go back to the drawing board and figure everything out from again.
Now
Yeah.
I'm pushing my supplier like crazy every day. It's good.
All right. Thank you very much for your help, Vincenzo and David. You got a lot of work to do. We'll see the rest of you guys in the next episode.